Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Easy Bets podcast. I'm your host, Logan. With me in the studio, Nick Von Brick.
What's up?
This is episode 259. We have reached that point. We are doing our NFL divisional breakdowns. Last year, we just did it by conference. This year, we're going to dive into it with 8 episodes, all 8 conferences. We're going to start with the NFC West, defending Super Bowl champ Seattle Seahawks. We're not back yet. We're still in the offseason, but this is meaningful football that we're talking about now, where we found some winners last year with our futures bets, and we're going to try to do the same thing again. If you notice, we shortened up the intro music. We're trying to switch things up for this upcoming season. Spruced up the thumbnail on YouTube. If you just watch on Apple or Spotify, go check that out. And maybe start just watching on YouTube. We appreciate the listeners, but we're trying to grow the YouTube page. But yeah, we're experimenting with a new intro music, shorter, sweeter, the color of money quote that I like. Money won is, twice as sweet as money earned. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I've been diving into a lot of stuff with the NFL, and I think it's safe to say last season we were amongst the sharpest NFL bettors on the face of the planet. And we're going to try to come back and do it again, because anybody can do it once. What matters is if you can do it again and if you can do it consistently. So how do you feel with what you've started with your breakdowns? And obviously we got our power ratings, which we're going to go over once we're done recording. But how do you feel going into on the precipice of another season?
Yeah, I feel good. It's exciting. There's a lot of teams that have made some big changes, and I don't know. I'm excited about the Saints, to be honest, but
yeah, I think there's a lot of promising things happening in New Orleans. Obviously, that's what happens when you find a fucking quarterback. But I think a lot of questions get answered this year, where Shuck showed flashes of what he could be with his arm and his legs. But now there's no battle. You're the clear-cut starter. It's your team. We've attacked the offensive side of the ball, going to get you another weapon in Jordan Tyson in the first round. I think this is the year where I don't have super high expectations in terms of, it's not Super Bowl type of season. But for what it's worth, and we're not on the NFC South, we're on the NFC West, I do think the Saints could give – I think there's value on the Saints to win the division.
The division's still not –
Exactly. It stinks.
Not great.
It stinks. And then with the Buccaneers and all of that, I think it's up for grabs for anybody. So, but yeah, I mean, you think it's clear cut? Tyler Shuck's the guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Not like, is he the starter? Like, is he going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league?
Yeah, I think probably so. I mean, I think we've done a good job addressing the offensive line to the draft, and then
and free agency. Edwards out of Buffalo.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, he's got to have time.
You have to be really, really good to play quarterback behind a bad offensive line like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But it's like when you have a good offensive line, it becomes a little bit easier. So
yeah, I was on the Tyler Shuck train going into that draft. I was on Louisville a lot throughout his final season in college, and I saw what he was capable of. Some of the no-look passes and the arm talent jumped off the page, and the mobility is there. You saw it against, was it Tampa Bay, where he scrambled and dove for the pylon, and he can move. And we're putting weapons around him now. And like you mentioned, the offensive line, they keep making the necessary moves. Kelvin Banks looks like he's going to be a stud. Yeah, I really liked getting Edwards from Buffalo in the interior. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be excited about. Defensively, I'm a little more up in the air. I don't know where the fuck we're going to go there, but I was pleasantly surprised with Staley and what he did with what he had at his disposal. So, but you lose Demario Davis, you lost some Alontae Taylor, you lost some key pieces, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to. We've already made our decision. We're going to go into the Circa Million with 3 entries this year. up from our one and only entry last season. But yeah, it's like I said, and it sounds like I'm kidding. I'm not. We were among the sharpest NFL bettors on the planet last season, top 0.01%. But you have to do it again. And I have been diving into roster moves, coaching changes, matchups, once the schedule got released, week by week, everything. We're leaving no stone unturned. So it's not going to be for lack of trying. Is it a guarantee that we're going to have a year like we did last year? No. And we probably won't do that well statistically. The odds are not in our favor. But there's only one way to find out. So a couple things to get into before we start diving into the NFC West. You saw ESPN is looking to give Pat McAfee an extension where I think he'll be making $60 million a year.
No, I did not see that.
That report came out today, I believe, on the heels of the report that came out yesterday that they're going to have Pat McAfee doing his thing with his guys at the NBA Finals. So if you follow Pat McAfee through the college football season, they'll go stand in the end zone, and they have their own broadcast, kind of like the Manning cast. But they're going to do it at the NBA Finals, which I don't understand. And I really scratch my head with ESPN's business model of find a handful of guys that you think everybody likes and then just shove them down your fucking throat. Stephen A. Smith is one of them. Pat McAfee, Jason Kelsey. Like we take these guys that are good at what they do in the area that they do it, and then ESPN wants to put them everywhere. And the most glaring example of that was when they put Stephen A. Smith on the UFC broadcast next to Joe Rogan. And the king of debating, and Stephen A. Smith had to tell Joe Rogan he essentially didn't know what he was talking about when it came to mixed martial arts. So I don't need Pat McAfee, a former NFL punter, to talk to me about the NBA Finals. And I understand there's people that really like him. And I don't really dislike Pat McAfee, but I'm not a diehard fan. The shtick gets pretty old pretty quick. It's not really for me. I feel like I don't know if I've aged out of it. But $60 million a year, I don't get it. It seems like a lot. Am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, he's all they got.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen A. Smith, let me tell you this, is on his way out the door very soon. He's going to be making a political run here as quick as it gets because he made his whole thing, his whole statement to Trump. Trump called him a dummy, said he has a low IQ, and then Stephen A. Smith had to respond on First Take, the sports debate show. He went back at Donald Trump. And I couldn't give less of a shit, man. We've just completely lost the plot. We don't know. We got to get back to what made all of those shows so great. No one fucking cares about Stephen A. Smith and his political aspirations. Don't care. Don't care. Talk to me about the Spurs stealing the first game in the Garden. Let's talk about that. I just don't get it. I really do think ESPN has no idea. Like, they're asleep at the wheel. And that's why you see all these other companies taking advantage. That's why you have the Barstool Sports of the world on their come up, which that's a whole nother story. They're in the midst of losing the plot themselves. So the door's open for plenty of competitors. But it's like, can we just get a wide range of talented people? We don't need fucking Jason Kelsey on the sidelines at a football game, but then also at the Masters. We don't need him there. We don't need him. We don't need Stephen A. Smith talking about basketball, football, baseball, mixed martial arts, golf. He doesn't know it all. It's impossible. He doesn't even hardly know basketball, which is what he started out covering. So, and then Pat McAfee, I just, like, the way they talk, it's just, like I said, I think I aged out of it. Like, instead of down, he says Don and shit like that. I just don't get it. I can't keep up with it. So I don't. He made a post about his newborn child, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Where he was talking to his newborn child like it was one of the fellas on the studio set, and it was weird. I don't know. And he was in a tank top at the hospital. And maybe I am a hater. I don't know. I don't dislike McAfee, but maybe I do.
Yeah, I don't know why he's always behind his desk, but he's standing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he never sits. I don't know.
I hardly watch ESPN.
Yeah, I don't watch it
unless
much
they're
either.
televising Monday Night Football or any other game.
Yeah. Yeah, $60 million is a lot of money. So more power to Pat McAfee if they're going to pay it to you. And it's kind of like the College Game Day. I liked when he went on College Game Day. I felt like that was a dying show. I felt like obviously he had Lee Corso with his age and all of that. Kirk Herbstreit really dove into the dog shtick, and then the dog passed away, and he just got another dog, and he brings his dog everywhere, and that's great. Saban was a good addition to the show, and then but Pat McAfee was necessary to put some energy into that show, and he's belly flopping into the water, and he's standing up, and he's doing the who's that coming down the track, Georgia Bulldogs, and the chant, and then he's flipping it on them, and he's taking the other team. But then he did it like 5 more times. Like, it was hilarious when he did it the first time. You can't go back to the well and just keep doing it. So it's become a big time shtick, and it just gets old. You gotta adapt. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. One more thing of big news before we get to the breakdown, and this is as it pertains to college football. Brendan Sorsby has been ruled eligible to play by a local judge, I believe a Texas Tech alumnus. What are your thoughts there? Do you think he plays? And 2, do you think he deserves to play?
Number 1, I think he plays. And number 2, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he should be playing. But
fuck no, he shouldn't. And I have the Texas Tech win total bet, and Texas Tech's going to be one of the best teams in the country, like they were last year. But now they have a quarterback. Brendan Sorsby's good enough to get this team not only to the college football playoff, but to make a deep run and maybe flirt with winning it all. So, but we do this for a living. We bet on games. We bet on sports. And it takes up a large part of my life, the majority of it. Brendan Sorsby is now playing I have an addiction, and I'm not saying sports betting addiction is not real. I think people are really not doing it correctly and losing way more than they should. I'm not saying that that's not happening. But they said Sorsby bet, and maybe he does, because he bet thousands and thousands and thousands of bets. But it came out to be like $90,000 he risked. But he bet 40 times on the team that he's a part of. And you know that is rule number 1. Don't do that. Everybody knows it. So you got caught. And don't get me wrong, he's not the only one. It's happening. So, but the precedent has now been set that you can say, this will be bad for my mental health if you don't allow me to play. And I'm going through treatment for not only a sports gambling addiction, but also his anxiety. Give me a motherfucking break, dude. Give me a break. I call bullshit. You knew what you were doing. You got caught. Now it's like the world's smallest violin, and they're playing the game to their advantage. And it looks like he might get to play this season. And that's all that's all they care about. But give me a break. You knew what you were doing. I think a really bad precedent has been set, because guess what? When Sorsby throws a fucking pick, we're going to be like, did he? Let's check the account. Let's check his fucking FanDuel account and make sure. You have to nip it. You have to get rid of that immediately, because you cannot compromise the integrity of the sport.
Yeah, I just don't understand how the NCAA has no authority.
Well, I feel like we've opened up this Pandora's box where now they have no authority, but they've made rulings in the past where I'm like, that's bullshit. So why didn't we just get a judge back then to fucking overturn it? We've now established.
If the NFL bans somebody,
yeah, it's over.
They can't go to a judge.
Yeah.
And now he can play. It's because who knows? Somebody's got a we need a lawyer to explain this to us.
Yes, but no, yeah.
It's because it's a matter of the state, maybe, and it's a state school. I don't know.
But do you not agree to the laws per se, but the stipulations put in place by the NCAA when you join the NCAA, and then they should get final say? I don't understand now where we're just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I know an athletic director in the Big 12 came out and said they lost their soul, and like that shit's been gone. But they basically everyone outside of Texas Tech is unanimously coming out and saying like this is not okay. This is a problem. A lot of teams are talking about like not playing Texas Tech and almost like boycotting them. What it's going to come down to is if the athletic director for Texas Tech decides to say like we can't do it. Like, and they're not going to do that because their number one booster is like a billionaire, and he's going to say, shut the fuck up. He's cleared. Probably that guy's lawyer on his payroll. He's cleared. He's going to play. So it's some of the best entertainment you can find, though. It'll make it's just another wrinkle to what's going to be one of the more exciting college football seasons in quite some time. So we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I don't think he should be allowed to play. I think you knew what you were doing. You got caught. He's not the only one doing it. A ton of people are doing it, but they haven't gotten caught yet. And when they get caught, they shouldn't be allowed to play. They shouldn't be allowed to go to an alumni judge and say, I fucked up, I'm depressed. And then he goes, okay, you can play. That's what this case is basically breaking down to be. So, but all right, let's get to the important stuff. There's just a couple things that were going on that I wanted to talk about, but we are now going to begin the NFC West breakdown. We are going to go through all four teams, kind of brush up on the moves that were made in the offseason, our expectations going into this season coming up, and then we're going to give you at least one best bet each for whether it's a win total bet, it can be anything, any futures bet, division champ, conference champ, Super Bowl. You do whatever you want. We're starting with the NFC West because it's the clear-cut best division in the NFL, in my opinion, unless you object. You got the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. You've got the Rams, which we're going to get to here in a second, which are quickly coming into becoming what may be one of the best teams ever fucking assembled, dare I say. You've got a perennial contender in the 49ers who had an unprecedented down year, but trying to make a bounce back. And then you got a dumpster fire in the Cardinals. But everybody's got at least one in the division. This team's got three legitimate contenders, two of arguably the top two teams in the league. So that's where we're starting. We're going to start with the Seattle Seahawks. Do you want to lead us off? I've got over-under wins. I've got odds for the division, win totals, all of that. So if you want, I can start there, or if you got it.
Yeah, I got the odds. Plus 205 to win the division. Is that what you got?
I did all mine through no free ads, but DraftKings. And so I had for Seattle was plus 160. But I can get you an updated just to make sure that is
I'm pretty sure it's plus 205 today.
Let's see. Yeah, you're right. And that would be because the Rams got fucking Reggie White, essentially. So, but all right, yeah, 205.
So, yeah, the Rams coming off of winning the Super Bowl and
Seahawks.
Oh, yep. The Seahawks coming off winning the Super Bowl in blowout fashion against the Patriots. To me, the big question is, how does the offense look without Clint Kubiak calling the plays? And there's going to be some system continuity because, like, all these play callers in this division, come from the same coaching tree.
Yep.
Now, Brian Fleury, is that how you say it? Fleury?
Yeah,
Fleury, San Francisco 49ers. Last year was the run game coordinator and the tight ends coach. The Seahawks also lose Kenneth Walker, one of the better running backs in the NFL. They have another good running back, Zach Charbonnet. And then they draft Jadarian Price off of Notre Dame.
But Charbonnet,
these damn names.
Charbonnet's recovering from the ACL.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his timeline is, but that was late in the season. That was postseason, right? He tore it?
Yeah. He tore it like in the playoffs, right? Or
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, postseason, I'm pretty sure.
IR 126.
Yeah, so late January. Yeah, that was like probably maybe the NFC Championship game. I don't fucking know. It was late. I can't remember.
Yeah, everybody's different. Some guys take 9 months. Some guys take the full 12.
Yeah, I'm expecting at least probably not ready for the start of the year. At least guaranteed not 100%.
Yeah. Defensive side of the ball. They used their second and third round picks after they drafted Price on bolstering the secondary with Bud Clark and Julian Neal. But yeah, I think win total sitting at 10.5, slightly juiced to the over, -115. You just wonder. It's like a lot of times you'll see like coaches lose a play call, teams lose a play caller, but like the system tries to remain the same. It's like there is an art to calling plays.
100%.
And really, towards the end of the year, when things really started to gel for them, they were ahead of schedule, even ahead.
Yeah.
Like we watched that first game against the Rams, and it really seemed like, you know, the Rams were a step ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the second game, it seemed like, I mean, this is the second game I'm talking about. But then in the third game, they played in the playoffs, right?
Yes. So the first game was in LA. Second game was we were on opposite sides. That was overtime. Yeah.
And the Rams looked like the better team in that game.
Yeah, it took a miracle. It took a Rashid punt return touchdown. It took Darnold, was it who threw Darnold threw the pick on the goal line. They were down like double digits with a couple minutes to go. It was an improbable comeback.
It was that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, over the middle.
Off the helmet.
Yeah,
pick up Zach Charbonnet in the end zone.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, some funky ass shit that the referees didn't know how to call.
So, yeah, I thought towards the end of the season, I thought Clint Kubiak was like dialed in all the way. And I think it's just hard to replace a play caller like that. So, it's like, but you go look at the first half of the season when the offense wasn't really carrying them, or they weren't as good as they were in the second half of the season. It's like this defense, you know, stepped up big, and it's like they're certainly capable of doing that again.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had Seattle as the second best defense in the league, and that's arguable. Like, that's debatable. I had the Texans as the best, so that's why I had Seattle come in at second. I think it's a huge deal, in my opinion, that they lose Clint Kubiak, because I very much agree that calling plays is a skill and an art in a sense, and you have to have a feel for not only what your guy likes, and you just have to be on the same page, like McVay and Stafford are, and Sean Payton and Drew Brees, from our, like, what we can relate to. They were the best quarterback and then play caller combo are always on the same page. They know what the other one's looking for. It's never going to be easy when you have to bring somebody else in. And last year, it was all about Seattle made the decision to let Geno Smith go. They took a chance with Sam Darnold, and he responded with over 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns. He graded out as a top 10 quarterback. But I think you have to give a lot of credit there to Kubiak, because a lot of times they were kind of winning in spite of Sam Darnold. The numbers came out pretty well, but that was the whole talk for them, was going into the postseason, was can Sam Darnold protect the football and avoid those 3 interception games like he was handing out left and right to the Rams. And he was able to do that, and the defense was incredible, and he did what he needed to do, and they rode the coattails of the best defense in the league. But also, yeah, I think it's understated that losing Kenneth Walker, over 1,000 yards rushing, splitting carries with Zach Charbonnet, who they like a lot, and also, I mean, if you're a fantasy football guy, everybody knows about how Kenneth Walker got robbed of the goal line touches. They always went to Charbonnet, so the touchdowns were not there for Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker's an incredible player. That's a huge loss. I do like Jadarian Price a lot. I think he's going to be a good running back, in the NFL. They did also go out and get Emmanuel Wilson from Green Bay, who I don't dislike. I think he's a solid player. Obviously behind Josh Jacobs, didn't get a huge workload. I think he has potential to be a solid player for them. But none of them are Kenneth Walker, so it's a huge loss. A couple other losses, they lost Boy Mafe to the Bengals, edge rusher. Didn't put up big numbers, but they had a lot of guys rushing the passer for Seattle. So I think he's a talented guy. I think that's somebody that they maybe he's a casualty of winning the Super Bowl, and they probably weren't thrilled to let him go, but you weren't going to pay him big money. They lose Tariq Woolen, cornerback, going to the Eagles. Kind of not. I'm not saying it's an addition by subtraction, but he was not the best. So, but they lose Kobe Bryant, safety, to the Bears.
Yeah,
that's a significant loss in my opinion. And then you have Charbonnet recovering from the ACL. But second-round pick was spent on Bud Clark. Like you mentioned, they addressed the secondary. I expect it's very difficult to go back-to-back in the NFL. Very few teams have won back-to-back Super Bowls. I don't expect the Seahawks to do it. I think we see a step back offensively, and I'm going to be honest, I think maybe we see not maybe. I fully expect to see more Sam Darnold struggles and just some more mistakes. I think Kubiak did a very good job of putting him in favorable positions and the play calling kind of take the opportunity out of his hands to turn the ball over. So, yeah, I mean, it is largely the same team that just won the Super Bowl. So you'd have to expect that they have a solid chance to repeat, but their biggest competition, and in my opinion, the clear best team in the league is the one we're about to get to here in a second, which is the LA Rams. But that's all I have with Seattle. I don't have any action in terms of a futures bet on them. I don't know. Do you? Are you considering anything? That breakdown probably made it sound like I'm not super low on Seattle. In my power ratings, they still come out to be a top 5 team. So it's not like I just don't have them winning the Super Bowl again or being the best team in their division. But so I'm not saying like, I'm definitely not saying take the under on the win total or anything like that per se. So
yeah, I mean, just the thing to consider is really all these teams kind of have a somewhat similar schedule because they play within the division, but then the division goes out and plays similar teams as well.
Yeah, their strength of schedule comes out to 14th. I don't know if you had the exact statistic.
No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, 14th. Rams is 13th. So, yeah, you're correct. They are, for that reason, how they play the same divisions and all that.
But where did the 49ers come out?
49ers came out to be 18th.
Yeah, just looking at, like, it's like if the Seahawks, they were first place in the division last year, first seed in the NFC. It's like they could easily finish here as the third best team in the NFC West.
Yeah.
Because of how good the 49ers can be if they're healthy, and then the Rams, of course, most talented team in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So that's all you got?
Yep.
All righty. Like I just mentioned, we now turn our attention to, in my opinion, the clear-cut best team in the league. And it's getting ridiculous at this point because I did my initial breakdown before I just got back from vacation. We just went to the beach for a week, and the beach trip always kind of signifies when it's like, okay, now it's time to lock in. I don't have much on the horizon other than trying to really get prepared for this upcoming season. I started a little earlier this year, but on the way to the beach trip, breaking news, the Rams signed Myles Garrett, who just broke the sack record just last year. And I immediately thought about how everybody, myself included, was talking about you draft the Alabama quarterback, I'm blanking on his name, Ty Simpson, in the first round. Why would you not go get a guy who can immediately help you contribute on what is undoubtedly a Super Bowl or bust year? And the Rams said, because we're going to go fucking get the best player in football in Myles Garrett. So we're getting this new age Reggie White to put on the defensive line. And when I was going through my breakdown of the Rams, and I had big money on the Rams last year to win the Super Bowl, And we were heavily invested in the Rams, and we came up short. But the glaring weakness on that defense, one, the fact that it just turned out to be not as good as we thought, but it was that they weren't able to get after the passer like the year before. And the number one guy leading that charge, in my opinion, was Jared Verse. I didn't think Jared Verse played great down the stretch. That was number one. And then number two was the fact that the secondary was just not good enough. There was too many weaknesses on the secondary. So you're not getting after the passer as frequently, and they can't hold up on the back end. The defense looked good to start, very good. I think it's still graded out as the number one defense. It wasn't when it mattered most. So the Rams decided to go hit free agency, and what did they do? As I just mentioned, they got Myles Garrett, the best player in football, just broke the sack record, for Jared Verse, who in my opinion was a very good player, but was not good enough when it mattered most. They agreed. On top of that, they went out and got 2 top 15 graded cornerbacks, both from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. So you had issues at the cornerback position. Those have completely been addressed. I would say 2025 was a letdown for the Rams. They finished 12-5, and a 12-win season is always good. But if you look at that 12-5, of the 5 losses, 2 were in overtime, and arguably one was a miracle for Seattle. Not even arguably. It was a miracle for Seattle. One was a blocked game-winning field goal against the Philadelphia Eagles that cost us a fucking lot of money in the contest. A lot. Game-winning field goal attempt gets blocked, return for a touchdown. Talked about it a bunch. The other 2 were 3-point losses on the road that should have been wins, in my opinion. One was against the Falcons late in the season, and then the other one was against Carolina, I think, on the road. But the one against Atlanta, they made the comeback, and it very much looked like they were about to pull that game out. So it's 12-5. Every single loss was right there. They didn't get blown out by anyone. And then now you've addressed everything that you needed to address. Myles Garrett, I'm blanking on his name real quick. In the interior, Kobe Turner in the interior. And then you've got Byron Young.
Yeah.
They've got serious guys that are going to be able to get after the passer and stop the run and all of that. But you add Myles Garrett. I'm not even kidding when I say this. If Matthew Stafford stays healthy, again, that's the only thing that can derail this team is injuries. If Matthew Stafford stays healthy, with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, who got hurt there late down the stretch, and that was tough for them to overcome. And then the running backs, they have every single thing they need. They're the clear-cut favorite to win the Super Bowl for a reason. And I don't know how you texted. You said they're going to win every game. And they really might. If you look at last year, they didn't have any bad loss. And they had multiple games that the ball just didn't really bounce their way in a couple spots. So, yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, you get rid of Emmanuel Forbes. He did lead the team in pass breakups, but he was not consistent in coverage at all. The fact that they went out, this was before they got Myles Garrett. The fact that they went out and got McDuffie and Watson, I was like, okay, I have the Rams 9-1 to win the Super Bowl. So, and that number's gone because then they turned around and went and got Myles Garrett. So, coaching change. They lose Mike LaFleur, who went to Arizona, I believe. They replaced him with Cliff Kingsbury. So another good offensive mind. McVay's obviously the play caller, but once they went out and got Myles Garrett, their over-under win total went from 10.5 to 11.5. It's minus 115 for the over, minus 105 for the under. They were plus 144 to win the division at the time. Now I believe they're even money. So I'm going to take the over 11.5 wins at minus 115. There's some $1.40 out there that you have to lay. There's $1.50 you got to lay in a spot. I'll take the 115. It's a middle of the pack schedule, but I truly injuries are the only thing that's going to be able to derail this team. So I'm going to go over 11.5 wins with the Rams. I get it. It's as easy, or it's as predictable as it gets, and every square is going to be on them. I don't know how they lose other than injuries. So I'll take that chance. I'm going over 11.5 wins at -115 for the Rams. Do you have anything to add? Are you on anything pertaining to the Rams?
No, I'm not on anything. Yeah, I mean, look, I liked Ty Simpson. I don't know if he should have went that early. But you just look at some of these teams that have done similar things in the past, like.
Are you saying if Stafford gets hurt, we're fine?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just kind of justifying the decision. Although I do think like you probably could have traded. I don't know if someone else was about to pick Ty Simpson, but
goddamn,
like,
Ty Simpson would have been there.
You could have probably traded back.
Yeah.
And still got this guy at the end of the first round or something.
Yeah.
But no, you just look at some of the teams that have done it. Like the Packers are infamous for doing it, right? When they had Brett Favre, they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
When they had Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Jordan Love. And now it's like all of a sudden they have had a franchise quarterback for 30 years straight now.
Yeah.
So it just seemed weird when McVay was like, it kind of seemed like it wasn't his idea.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a relationship between Ty Simpson and maybe the owner of the Rams or the GM or somebody. So there was some funny business there for sure. Yeah. And then he didn't. Ty Simpson's like, let's go make history, coach. He's like, shut the fuck up. He's like we are, not with you. Grab the clipboard. But yeah, I thought that was, I don't know. I don't care. They clearly, maybe McVay went in and said like, you want to draft that shitbag? We'll fucking trade all the rest of the picks and go get Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure it out later. He'll be gone. He'll be long gone. He's going when Stafford goes. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I truly don't know how, and I'm not going out on a limb. I'm not telling you anything crazy insightful. I don't know how this team loses. I don't know how they lose 6 times.
So they lost Tutu Atwell. Did they lose any other receiver?
I know they drafted C.J. Daniels.
So they lost, who was it, Robinson? Before last year?
DeMarcus, yeah.
Yeah, to the Niners.
Yeah.
Jordan Winnington, I like this guy.
Yeah.
He just hasn't. He was drafted in 2024, but
you know who I like that they drafted in the second round is another tight end in Max Clare.
They got so many tight ends.
Max Clare's really fucking good. Max Clare's a good player. They have 4, if Max Clare falls into that category and lives up to the second round pick and all of that, they have 4 legitimate tight end options. So it's like even if, okay, they lose Tutu Atwell, they love to run the multiple tight end sets. It's like, who gives a shit? They have everything they need. Like, truly.
Yeah.
I like C.J. Daniels. I think he can be a solid player. For a 6th round pick, I don't dislike that at all.
Yep, and then I have running back, man, studs. 2 studs.
Ronnie Rivers is a solid player. It's one of those where I feel like it's almost, you almost want to fade it because it seems too obvious, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't do it. The offensive line's fantastic.
It's like you get
They could be better in pass protection. But
week 1, right? 49ers.
Yep.
3-point spread.
Yep.
So that'll be a really interesting game.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best games for week 1.
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, we can segue to the 49ers. And just to, or it sounds like you already got it, and this may have changed, actually. My numbers might not be good, but I had them at 10.5 wins. It's now 9.5.
Yeah, so 10.5, you're going to get juiced. You're going to get plus money to the over. 9.5, you got to lay the juice.
Yeah, 146 is what I see. Plus 120 if you like the under. But then to win the division, you must have brushed up on this today. I did not. Let's see, plus 305 now to win the division. Okay. Do you want to take it? I can if you want me to.
I can do the Cardinals.
Okay. Thank God. I don't want to do the fucking Cardinals. All right. 2025, obviously, head coach Kyle Shanahan. They were 12-5 last year. And that's a very, very respectable 12-5 because it was another odd injury-riddled season for the Niners. We saw Mac Jones start half the year at quarterback. We also saw a brutally bad Niners defense when Fred Williams went down. I was kind of scratching my head. Sorry, Fred Warner. I said Fred Williams. I was kind of scratching my head with this Niners team and what to expect because the numbers and the way they graded out were horrific on defense. But Fred Warner's going to be back. Nick Bosa got hurt as well last year. He's expected to be back. So that's the good news. Both should be healthy for the 2026 season. The Niners also brought back Dre Greenlaw, who graded out extremely well with the Broncos and should provide immediate help for the team he used to play for. If you remember in the Super Bowl, he's the one running onto the field, tears his Achilles. So 0 significant moves were made to help an abysmal secondary. So that's a cause for concern, in my opinion. Offensively, some moves were made. The Niners, I guess, are moving from the head-scratching Brandon Ayuk saga, and they went out and got Mike Evans from Tampa Bay, which I also don't really know what to make of because Mike Evans, who has been kind of an Iron Man and a 1,000-yard receiver every single year, got hit with the injury bug with the hamstring, and I think there was an abdominal issue, and he was going through it all year. So if healthy, it's still it's an improvement for sure for an offensive or wide receiver room that could certainly use it. They also went out and got Christian Kirk, Ricky Pearsall, ideally doesn't get shot and can have a healthy year himself.
Yeah, Pearsall's a stud.
Yeah, no, he's a really good player if he's not getting shot for his watch. But and then they attacked wide receiver again in the second round with DeJon Stribling. So there was a clear emphasis in trying to get some help for Brock Purdy on the outside. George Kittle recovering from, was it an Achilles? He tore something. I don't really know what his timeline is going to be. It's obviously a little early. But he catches you as a guy who's going to grind out rehab and probably come back sooner than expected. But, yeah, I mean, injuries have become a recurring problem for this team. It feels like it's year after year, whether it's Purdy with the elbow in the playoffs and McCaffrey with the calf strain. He dealt with that. Was that last year at the start of the year? He was dealing with the calf strain that everybody was worried about. If you want to put your tinfoil cap on, they're sitting right next to the electrical field, which everybody said that's crazy until the Niners decided to go look into it. They're like, everybody is fucking tearing all the ligaments. So, cause for concern. Not a ton of change defensively other than the fact that you get those guys back healthy ideally. Upton Stout at nickelback, Diamador Lenore, Renardo Green. I don't know if these guys are good enough on the outside. They weren't good enough last year. And the fact that they didn't address, I mean, they went and got Nate Hobbs. So I guess I'd say that. They tried to address it. You got Jack Jones from Miami. You got Nate Hobbs from Green Bay. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the defense because when Fred Warner is healthy, he's the best linebacker in the league against the run. Nick Bosa is one of the best edge rushers when healthy. At least he was for that window there. Do we see a Bosa fall off like we saw with Joey Bosa? Possibly. I do like that they went and got Romello Height in the third round. I think he could provide some pressure on the quarterback. I also like that they got Kalen Black from Indiana. I think he's a good player. Obviously, McCaffrey's obviously going to be a stud as long as he can stay healthy too. Offensive line is a solid unit led by Trent Williams. This is going to be another competitive, win-healthy Niners team. Again, the fact that they won 12 games is a testament to Kyle Shanahan. He should have probably been the coach of the year, in my opinion. You had Mac Jones come in, who also was battling through injuries. What felt like every game he played. But I don't feel confident enough to back him in any way. Not in this division with what they have to go up against. and then the injury all your best players are recovering from injuries, including Mike Evans, who just came over with an injury-plagued season. What are your thoughts on the Niners? And do you disagree? Do you feel more confident than I do? Where are you sitting with them?
Kind of feel a little bit, I don't know, I feel a little bit more confident than maybe you with them, but yeah, I agree the secondary was a serious problem last year. But it didn't help with all the injuries. And even if their front can stay healthy and generate a little bit more pressure on the passer, that certainly will help some of these guys in the back end. But offensively, I kind of like what they did. With Ayuk, that was a roller coaster of a ride, but then they lost Jawan Jennings. Who did he end up going to? I saw it the other day.
Was it the Commanders?
I can't remember. But yeah, I like Christian Kirk a lot. I think he's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the NFL.
The Vikings.
Yeah. Which that's kind of big for them, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans, two Ole Miss wide receivers, Jordan Watkins and Deshaun Stribling. It's like they have some depth here at wide receiver, and it's like they've never, Purdy's a weirder quarterback where he kind of spreads the ball around a lot. It's like,
yeah, they haven't had a go-to guy in what feels like a while.
They had Debo, but he was like a utility type player, not really gonna get you 10 receptions a game or anything.
Yeah. Kittle was kind of the go-to guy. So, but that's worrisome in my opinion, the battle and coming back from the injury for him. So, and also it kind of goes unnoticed, but if you know, what Kittle does in the run game is probably the best in the league at the tight end position. So, that's a big loss there as well. And who knows, maybe he's back healthy for the start of the season, but he got hurt late down the stretch as well. So, and I want to say it was an Achilles. I could be wrong on that.
I think it was. It was bad.
Yeah, torn right Achilles during the wild card round. So,
but yeah, it's like you said, in the division, it's like maybe if the Rams didn't get Garrett,
could be value on the Niners.
Yeah, but it's like after that, it's like I don't know. It's like it's gonna be a letdown for the Rams if they don't win the division.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a letdown for the Rams if they lose a game.
Yeah.
So it says George Kittle is very optimistic about his timeline, expects to be ready to go for week 1. Of course, he's saying that now, so take it with a grain of salt. But they're saying that he's ahead of schedule for sure.
Yeah, he's a sicko.
Yeah,
He'll go out there and play and pop it again.
Yeah, it might never even be healed, and he'll just say it is. He's going to be like Michael Bisping with one eye and be like, yeah, I see great. But yeah, do you have any action on the Niners going into the 2026 season?
No, I'm not gonna go with anything.
Alrighty, then we will move on over to the Arizona Cardinals. You have the floor, and good luck.
Yeah.
You love Brissett.
Yeah, I love Brissett. I think he's a stud. No, Arizona, right? Total coaching change here on the offensive side of the ball. They fired Jonathan Gannon, hired Mike LaFleur. Nathaniel Hackett's going to be the offensive coordinator. They retained Nick Rollis. Is that how you say it, Rollis?
I believe so.
As their defensive coordinator. Quarterback change as well for the Cardinals after whatever it was, 5 years with Kyler Murray. It didn't pan out. He's off to the Vikings. They still have Jacoby Brissett. They signed Gardner Minshew. And then they drafted Carson Beck in the 3rd round. I think it's I don't know, for a team like this, to draft Carson Beck in the 3rd round, kind of head-scratching move.
Yeah, do they have expectations that he might win the job?
I don't know. I guess we'll see in the preseason, but it's like this is a team that's probably would have been ready, since there wasn't good quarterback depth in this draft class, and they picked wherever they did, 4th or 5th. What were they picking? 3rd, maybe?
The Cardinals? I
Yeah.
think, yeah, they took Love.
They didn't pick 1, so they couldn't get Mendoza. But it's like this is a team that probably could have waited on drafting a quarterback and built their roster somewhere else in the 3rd round. But, yeah, and but the backfield's kind of crowded now. You kind of wonder what it's going to look like. Obviously, they drafted Love. They signed.
It's actually extremely crowded because I think Trey Benson's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's a solid player. Bam Knight is not like a piece of garbage, and he's 5th on the depth chart. But you got James Conner coming back from injury. But, yeah, they made the move for Tyler Algier, who was like, finally, I can fucking get out from Bijan's shadow, because he's another Charbonnet-esque guy. Like, he's a solid player. When he gets the ball in his hands, he can do productive things. And they said, shut the fuck up. We're going to go get the best running back in the draft, and we're going to take him top 5, and you're a backup. You're a goal line guy. You're going to be behind. You were just behind arguably the most dynamic running back in the league, and now you're going to be behind arguably the most dynamic running back in the league, a physical specimen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you have bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way he was happy with that. How do you think Jeremiah Love's going to be in the league?
I think he's going to be good. The question here is, what type of workload are they going to give him with a backfield like this,
Yeah, also, the offensive line was a serious problem. They went in the 2nd round and drafted Chase Basantis. They made a move for Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle. They made a move for Isaac Siamalu at left guard. So they made a lot of moves on that offensive line. I don't really – if you remember, the Cardinals were scrappy last year. The Cardinals they stunk. Like, there was that one week where it's like they put up a good fight, and you're like, okay, they're not rolling over. And then the Rams beat them by like 50 in the first half, and you're like, oh, shit. But you look at this team, Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of stinks, but he's still talented. You would think, like, maybe the game slows down for him at some point. If it doesn't this year, it's not going to. He had the problem with the drops, and then he caught a ball, and it was like a Make-A-Wish kid going on the field catching a ball. Everybody was, like, almost crying. I think he actually cried when he caught the touchdown or something like that. So, but Trey McBride is top 3 tight end in the league. So they have some weapons. And when you go get Jeremiah Love, you have some serious, he can catch out the backfield. He can, you just put the ball in his hands. He can make something happen. So if the offensive line can have any type of improvement in mesh, you just need somebody competent at the quarterback position. But my hesitation here, and don't get me fucking wrong, I think they're like 100-1 to win the division. So they're going to fucking stink. But Brissett, I think my gut tells me is going to fall into that issue where you come in as the backup and you have success. And he's been in the league for a while, so there's plenty of tape on him. And he's bounced around from team to team, and he's had success. He's shown flashes. He's a solid player. He's a good backup quarterback. But now he's expected to go into the season as the starter, perhaps. I don't think that equates to success. And when, obviously, the division they're in. But so I think in some of those games where maybe they put up a fight and were scrappy, I don't know if that's going to be as successful. But I don't have action. I'm not on them. I'm not fading them. Are you on anything with the Cardinals? I don't think you have. You said you had 3 potential, and you haven't given out one yet. So they all 3 on the Cardinals?
No, I was thinking about taking some action on the 49ers, but just decided not to.
Yeah.
No, you really wonder if, like, it's kind of been like.
You're gonna go over 3.5 wins?
No, but I don't know if that's a bad bet.
Yeah. Let's pull up the schedule.
What was I saying? Yeah, no, with the coaching change, you just wonder if it's I wonder who you think Mike LaFleur is going to call the plays?
I would imagine.
you just wonder if like they can somehow establish the run and make it a little bit easier for Brissett.
Let's put it this way. If Mike LaFleur is not calling the plays and Nathaniel Hackett is, then Mike LaFleur won't be a head coach for that long. So we've seen Nathaniel Hackett, one with his chance at a head coach job in Denver, disaster. And then we've seen him bounce around to wherever the fuck else. And
he went to the
Jets, worst thing,
he?
the worst thing for Nathaniel Hackett was that he became a head coach and people got to see him and how inept he was. He was in Green Bay. That's where he made his name, I guess, behind fucking Aaron Rodgers. So it's like Aaron Rodgers would get in the huddle and say, "Great, Nathaniel, shut up, audible," and then go out and do what he needed to do. You look at the Cardinals. They start the season on the road against the Chargers. Then you play Seattle. Then you go on the road to San Francisco. Quick 0-3 start. Then you got to go on the road on a back-to-back to the Giants. So that's one of your chances to pick up a win. Cross-country, road game, young team, new head coach, tough spot. Then you play the Lions. Then you go on the road and you play the Rams. Then you play the Broncos.
Yeah,
then you go on the road to Dallas. Then you go on the road to Seattle. Then you play the Rams again.
The first half of the schedule is like there was a bet through the first 5 games. I was like,
they might not win a game.
I think 0 games was paid 2-1. Who can they beat in the first 5 games?
Your best bet is the Giants on the road on a back-to-back road. Who can they beat at all? So you look at the best opportunities to win because, like I said, so just hear me out. At the Chargers, at home versus Seattle, at San Francisco, back-to-back road games, cross-country, at the Giants, your best bet to get your first win. The Lions, at the Rams, at home against the Broncos. Then you have 2 road games in a row against the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Then you play the Rams again. Then you go to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs when Mahomes is finally getting back up to speed and healthy in fucking week 11. Then you get the Commanders. You play the Eagles. The Jets, best bet to get a win. At the Saints, on the road, in the Dome, against New Orleans. End of the season when you expect Tyler Shuck to be really fucking figuring it out. Then you play the Raiders, and then you close the season out with the 49ers. So your best bets to get a win are going to be the Raiders. End of the season when you expect Mendoza to, if he's going to show flashes, this would be when it is. But Raiders, Jets, Giants on the road of a back-to-back, and then who the fuck is the Commanders maybe? They got to get to 5 wins? I don't fucking know. I don't know. This schedule's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I know.
This schedule's way harder than anybody else in this damn division. Let me see where does it rank? So you were considering going over?
No.
Of course, my internet's gonna be shit now. But yeah, I mean, when you break this down and you look at it, I'll just read what I have. I guess I had last year 2-0 start to the season, ended up 3-14. Obviously resulting in Jonathan Gannon being fired, like Nick mentioned. Kyler Murray goes to Minnesota. Jacoby Brissett gave it an honorable effort, all in all. But the Cardinals stunk. Mike LaFleur comes in, brother of Matt LaFleur, brings over someone, obviously, that we already mentioned, Nathaniel Hackett. Terrible. Brissett is back at quarterback. Mentioned drafted Carson back in the 3rd round. They do bring in Kendrick Bourne. I don't know if you mentioned that or not, or read already or not, but opposite Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, like there are weapons. There are weapons that you can get the ball to. But the defense was brutally bad and made almost 0 moves. So I don't know. I don't know where a a ton of the optimism would be. And there's not any. They're 100 to 1 to win the fucking division, let alone they might as well be 1,000,000 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Probably the toughest division in football, so it's going to be a tough year for the Cardinals is what I have written down. So, and that was before I really did like a deep dive on the schedule. The schedule is a fucking nightmare.
All right. The question is, do I have the ball to go Jeremiah Love under 899.5 rushing yards?
So the Cardinals, I'm going to ask you to tell me that one more time, but the shit finally pulled up. The Cardinals actually have the third hardest schedule in the league, and that checks out. And
that's perfect for them because they'll draft whatever quarterback they want next year.
Arch Manning going to Arizona. You think he goes number 1?
I haven't even really thought about it, but yeah, probably so. He's only going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're considering going Jeremiah Love what?
Under 899.5 rushing yards.
Because of the crowded backfield. What are the odds? What is it juiced one way or the other?
No, it's
110
minus 110 each way.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so the question, you said 899.5, so does he get to 900?
Yep.
What did Genty finish with last year?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
975.
Christ.
But they, stunk. Like, they had nobody.
Right, and it was so bad for so long.
Bowers was out for a portion of the season there. But god damn, their offensive line was so bad, and he still got there.
All right, we'll go Jeremiah Love over 899.5 rushing yards. This guy's clearly the most talented player on their team. Yeah, the backfield's crowded, but you got to be an idiot not to give this guy the ball every play.
Yeah, and you got and one thing to consider here is new head coach. Pete Carroll was going through clearly the battle with was it Chip Kelly at OC? So that was a different dynamic where Pete Carroll's obviously who he is, but Chip Kelly was a head coach in the league before, just coming off the national championship. So he clearly gave the reins to Chip Kelly, who didn't want to just hand Genty the ball every play, which Pete Carroll wanted to do. Now you've got a new head coach in Mike LaFleur coming in, Bozo and Nathaniel Hackett, who, in my opinion, is probably not going to be calling the plays. You want to give your guy the ball. You just spent a fucking top 3 pick on him. So, yeah, I mean, it is a crowded backfield, but James Conner's coming off the injury, correct? He missed almost all of last season.
Yeah, and James Conner's 31 years old.
Yeah.
So it's who knows what ends up happening.
I do think Jeremiah Love is a stud. I think he's incredible. So
I wouldn't be surprised if James Conner doesn't get cut. I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trey Benson's good.
He's been productive.
There's no way they keep all the running backs. Bam Knight probably gone. But then, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So you're going to go over.
Yep.
The switch.
Jeremiah Love over 899.5 rushing yards.
There you go. Do you have anything more to add on the Cardinals? I do not.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, there you go. That is our breakdown of the NFC West. To recap, I'm taking the Rams. Again, call me crazy. I'm going to take the best team possibly ever when healthy. Over 11.5 wins, minus 115. You're going to take Jeremiah Love over 899.5 yards at minus 110. Feed your best player the football. We will be back next week. We're going to do once a week. We're going to break down, well, who knows where the fuck we're going. We're going to stay in the NFC until we're done with it, but we're going to break down another division. Like I said, last year we got to the window on a number of these bets, and we're going to try to do the same thing again. But this is a good way to kind of knock the dust off, brush up on the moves made, and you may be sitting in the car right now on your cart ride going, oh, I didn't know they got so-and-so. And that's what we're here to do, help you. You can help us by listening. Hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind. That is episode 259. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Nope.
Y'all have a good one. Good luck.
The house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. I've been practicing this pitch. A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.